What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today we learned a whole heap of news about Battlefield 2042 in the first ever Battlefield briefing, which for those who don't know is essentially a blog post from the community team at DICE giving us players a heap of information about the game. Now this briefing came out about 24 hours ago when you're watching this. I am a little bit late because of course with my luck I actually had my PC and setup completely pulled apart to clean out and install some upgrades and stuff. So my PC was out of action yesterday, and therefore you may have already heard some of this stuff if you do watch other guys in the community, but I thought I would still cover it anyway. Some of the topics that we learned about in this Battlefield briefing were some more info about the specialists, maps, vehicles and AI soldiers, the technical test being moved, and the most important aspect, crossplay and cross progression. Now there is an absolute shitload of information to go through, so I'm not going to cover it all since there is quite a bit that was already known and they've just kind of slightly elaborated on it. I will leave a link in the description though for those of you who are keen on actually reading the entire thing, but for the sake of this video I will just touch on the biggest talking points, as otherwise the video would probably end up being about 30 minutes long. So I'm going to dive straight into the juicy stuff here, and we're going to talk about crossplay and cross-gen, since for me and many others out there this is the biggest question leading into the game. They have officially confirmed that crossplay is going to be arriving in Battlefield 2042, which is awesome news, and I'm so glad that it is finally out there. It's obviously becoming such a huge part of gaming now, with pretty much all of the AAA titles out there adding it, so it is nice to see that Battlefield is doing the same. Now with that being said, there is an unfortunate catch to it, which for me personally has kind of lowered my hype about the news, because while there is crossplay, there unfortunately won't be cross-gen capabilities. How it'll work is that PS4 and Xbox One players will be able to play together, and then PS5, Xbox Series S and X and PC players can all play together, but the two generations cannot mix together. So even though it is crossplay, it's essentially split into two platforms now, with the previous gen and next gen / PC being separated from each other. This is quite a bummer if I'm going to be honest, and I no doubt will be making a bit of a rant video on this topic in the next couple of weeks after EA Play, just because I do feel pretty strongly about this, and as someone who is lucky enough to be in contact with the team, you can trust me when I say that I'll absolutely be letting the team know my thoughts and letting them know just how poor of a decision this is if it isn't a technical issue, but like I said, I will save that for another video. Now something else that they mentioned which is great is that there is the ability to turn off crossplay if you'd like, and I know a lot of people were really curious about this, as obviously PC does have the whole hacking issue, so for on console it is sometimes beneficial to just not play with PC players, and you guys can be happy to know that that is possible, so no one has to play with PC players other than PC players if you would rather turn that option off. If you're on previous gen, well then you don't even need to worry because there is no cross-gen, so PS4 and Xbox One players can crossplay together and not worry about PC players, which I think a lot of people will actually be pretty happy about. Now one other thing they mentioned was actually cross progression, so essentially that means that if I have the game on Xbox Series X and I get to level 10 for example, and then I want to go and jump on PS4 and play with my PS4 friends, I can log in there and I will be level 10 on the PS4 as well. So that is a little bit of a saving grace in a way, at least for me. You know, if I'm going to play with my previous gen friends, then at least I don't have to worry about being different ranks and not having the same weapons and all that kind of thing. So it would just be nicer to have cross-gen honestly, but that is at least, yeah, a bit of a saving grace that we can still, you know, level up on one console and then that transfers over to the other one. So that's pretty much it for the crossplay talk. Like I said, I will have some more videos in the future about crossplay, so be sure to keep an eye out for those. And for anyone who enjoys podcasts, I am actually the co-host on a weekly podcast called The Battlefield Show, where we talk about Battlefield each and every week, and we will no doubt be discussing the crossplay topic in depth over there probably very soon, so be sure to check out the podcast through the links in the description. Now moving on, we learned a cool bit of information about Ranger, which is the name for the robot dog that we see in the trailer, and it turns out that this is essentially a vehicle rather than a specialty gadget like most of us probably expected. Ranger can be called in through the new call-in system, meaning that anyone can call him in throughout the game, although he obviously needs to be available, and there are only a certain amount that can be in the game at once. I'd imagine maybe like 2 to 4 per team just by guessing, but we have no actual idea of that just yet. We also learned that Ranger can be given orders, so you can send him to scout out a location, or you can order him to return to you and follow you, and you can even order him to self-destruct as well, so that is going to be pretty fun to sort of send him into a building and blow him up. I can already see a lot of funny moments happening there, so I cannot wait to get my hands on the game and try him out. Now the squad limit did also get officially revealed, and there will be 4-man squads returning in Battlefield 2042, which most of us just kind of guessed from the gameplay trailer, but that is now officially confirmed. Honestly, with the larger scale maps and everything, I would have loved to see like 6-man squads, especially since now there are more than the 4 classes with the new specialist system, but it's definitely not make or break for me. 4-man squads is tried and tested and it's worked well in previous games, so I'm at least least happy to know about it rather than just sort of sitting around waiting to hear some news. Now, the final thing I'm going to be touching on in this video is to do with the specialists and how exactly their gadgets and stuff work, since that has been a rather confusing takeaway from the initial reveal. They have confirmed that there are 4 items for us to equip in our loadout, and then 1 item that is locked to each specialist, for example, Maria Falk having her Surette pistol. So you can carry a primary weapon, so an assault rifle, SMG, whatever you want, 1 piece of equipment which might be an ammo crate, for example, a secondary weapon, so a pistol or maybe even a shotgun depending on how they balance that, and then lastly a throwable, which is obviously just a grenade, and obviously there will be a bunch of different grenades to choose from. Now, they confirmed that for the equipment slot, every single player can actually equip a rocket launcher if they want to, but they have considered that in their balancing. So if you do want to do that, then you're going to be doing it at the cost of not being able to carry extra ammo or health, along with no doubt plenty of other options. And they've also adjusted the rocket launchers slightly in terms of the ease of use, so it seems like they will mostly just be tailored to taking out vehicles and not so much for spamming against regular players. So maybe really slow ADS speeds or even reduce damage on troopers or something. It's hard to say until we actually play the game, but don't stress about all 128 players just spamming each other with rockets, because they pretty much hinted that they're not going to be that great against troopers, which is great to hear. I think with the sheer amount of vehicles that are going to be in the game, it is actually great that everyone can use a rocket launcher if they want to. It did kind of suck sometimes that if you're playing any class other than engineer in the older games or assault in Battlefield 5, you just couldn't really do anything to stop a vehicle, but now I think vehicle players are going to need to be much smarter and not just rely on taking damage, so we'll see how it goes, but I am all for it at face value. But anyway guys, that is pretty much going to do it for this video. Like I said, there was a little bit more information in the actual briefing, however it was mostly just some smaller topics, but that will be linked down below if you guys want to check that out for yourselves. If you enjoyed the video, then be sure to leave a like down below, and if you are new, then consider subscribing to the channel with those notifications on. Thank you all very much for watching. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you all out there on the battlefield.